Well, my friend Alma got me this awesome playmat for Christmas, and we got a couple of new cards from the 15th starter deck for War Greymon. Guess it's time to update this deck. Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in to Team Forbidden's YouTube page. It is I, Setter Summon Fanatic, back at you with an update for Omnimon Alter S from EX4. This is one of my favorite decks of all time in this card game, and it's a highly underrated deck in my opinion. It's getting a little support, like actual straight up support in BT 15 with the Digicrossing Omecamon coming out. But we got some support for it with some generic Black Agumons and Greymons and a new Tie Tamer as well in the starter deck 15, Dragon of Courage. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into what we're running right now. This deck got second place at Locals today. Beat Bloomlord like single-handedly 2-0 and drew against Mirage Galgamon, unfortunately ending the tournament there because there was only one undefeated player. But eggs, 4 copies of Sunamon, kind of like the last time. You can run a 5th egg if you want. I think if you're going to run a 5th egg, you have to run the BT 11 Koromon? Maybe the starter deck one? Starter deck one might be better, although you don't do a lot of redirecting outside of blocker. But this deck is also kind of a work in progress right now because I'm trying to incorporate some new cards, try out various other things. Some things worked today, other things, it just didn't go very good. But for Sunamon, this is your main egg. Next up, into your Alter S searchers, you got 4 copies of Agumon from EX4. Search top 3 for Greymon and or a Gabumon, Garurumon, or Omnimon, and then you put the rest on top of your deck. 4 copies of the Gabumon, does the same thing, but for Garurumon and Agumon, Greymon, Omnimon instead. These are your bread and butter. Both have the inheritable of when another of your Digimon digivolves, you gain a memory. For those who do not remember what this deck does, this deck focuses on getting 2 bodies on board and then basically chain digivolving onto each of them with the appropriate pieces until you get to your Omnimon Alter S. And basically wrecking your opponent's board and doing stuff from there. You'll have Reboot and Blocker and sometimes other inheritables. Speaking of, we're trying out 2 copies of the Agumon from ST15. This is the Holiday Tournament winner one. It gives you a memory at the start of your main phase, so it's nice to have 1 extra memory because you run the new memory tamer tie, but sometimes your opponent just does a good job at just choking you at 1, which you can still combo at 1, but having 2 or more memory is, you know, a lot easier in some cases. And next we are also running 2 copies of the Agumon from BT12. This card is both a blessing and a curse. The 1K TV is nice. Being able to search for Greymon or Omnimon and tie is nice. But when you hit your Garurumon stuff with this card, it sucks. It sucks so hard. But he's also your other best searcher, Agu. You can maybe just run a full playset of this one, or the blocker Agumon instead, because that's not a bad thing to bring back, but it's hard to argue against this guy. So that's it, the 12 rookies. For our champions, we've got the 4 copies of EX4 Garurumon. Basically, on Digivolve, you Digivolve another Digimon into a level 6 or lower Greymon with the Digivolution cost reduced by 2. Gives you Reboot. 4 copies of the Greymon from EX4 that does the exact same thing, except for Garurumon instead. And before we had the BT12 Greymon, we're trying out the Security Greymon. It's interesting, because this thing has a security effect that lets you play Agumons or ties from hand or trash, which is nice if it comes up, if he's ever in the stack. I had one time in the tournament today where I had a tie in hand, and I thought about choking my opponent to 1 by playing a Gabumon, and this was the top card of my security stack. So I was like, you know what? I don't want to get choked to 1. Let me play the tie out. It'll give him 2. It only gives him 1 more memory. First check was this. Second check was an Agumon. I was so mad. So it's the inheritable on this one is great. I may or may not switch this card back out for the BT12 one. This thing has blocker as well, which makes it really nice with the memory center tie as well. It's a work in progress. This is probably going to become the Omekamons when the Omekamons come out in 15, but we'll see. We'll see what happens then. For right now, this is what I'm running for my 4s. For 5s, I wish there was a way to run more 5s, but you got the 8, 4 metal, 4 wear. Same thing, you Digivolve 1, you Digivolve the other. Chain Digivolve up into level 6s, which speaking of, 4 Blitz Greymon, 4 Crescarurumon. Crescarurumon actually came up quite a bit today as well. I actually used it for board clearing when I was missing my other pieces. Yeah, there's not much else that can be said about both of these cards. I guess I should show you guys an example of what I mean by chaining on the Digivolution stuff. I'm not sure if we did it in the last one, so either way, it begs showing just for refresher. So, ideally, you will have a Digimon out, and you'll push one of your Digimon up from the breeding area. So, the way you start is you start by having all of these in hand. So, you start by either Digivolving the one on the left or the one on the right. Depending on how many of your pieces you have, you might do with the one on the right. So, you can go Gabumon into Garurumon. That'll net you a card for the Digivolution and a card from the Sunamon because another of your Digimon Digivolved. You then Digivolve into the Greymon off of this one. Draw another card off of the Digivolution, and because your other Digimon Digivolved, you would then gain a memory back. This will then resolve, letting you Digivolve into a Garurumon, and it reduces the cost by 2, so this will be for 1. Same thing. And then this one will give you a memory. So that's essentially 2 free evolutions and 2 free memory as long as your opponent doesn't have a memory blocker out. Digivolve into the Metal Greymon, draw another card. Metal Greymon will let you Digivolve to Cress, and it doesn't matter which order you start with, just as long as it goes Garuru to Gray, Gray to Garuru, Garuru to Gray, Gray to Garuru, or vice versa. Cress can Digivolve either from any black or blue for 4, but it also Digivolves from Weregarurumon specifically for 3. So with her Digivolution cost by 2, that's a 1 cost level 6 Mega. And then this one lets you Digivolve that for the other for free. Both of them do that. So the Crest either bottom decks a bunch of cards that play cost total up to 6. Blitz lets you de-Digivolve 1 on 3 of your opponent's Digimon, or lets you Digivolve then the other one, each lets you Digivolve into the other one for free, or you DNA Digivolve into a Digimon in your hand. So then you Digivolve into Alter S. Which, speaking of, 1, 2, 3, 4 copies of Omnimon Alter S. No. 4 copies of Alter S. Partitioned before it sucked. I think that's what the new. I think that's what the new keyword is officially going to be called in BT 16. But this guy is stupid nuts. I tried it with 3. I've seen other people try to run it with 3. As I'm sure I said in the first deck profile for this guy on the channel, I tried it with 3. I opened one game where 2 of him were in the security before I put him there myself. So I'm just like, nope, that's it. I'm running 4. I am not running any less than 4 of this guy. So he DNAs with any blue in a level 6 red, goes on top, and on Digivolving, he deletes an opponent's Digimon with 8,000 DP or less, and then bottom decks an opponent's Digimon that is level 6 or higher. Oh, it felt so good bottom decking Quartzmon with this after going into my whole combo. And it's just like, oh yeah, let me just pop your memory setter right there, or not the memory blocker or other stuff right there, or play cost blocker. Because if this thing would to leave the field except by one of your own effects, you play a Kreskarurumon and a Blitz Greymon from under it. And then you put this at the bottom of your security stack face down. Yes, this card is stupid nuts and I love it. To round off our level 7s, we have 1 copy of the Omnimon Ultra B still. I wish I could find room for more, because there were a couple of times today where he popped up in my security stack, so I was never going to see him, and I have no way of getting him back. So I'm not entirely sure what to do yet with that, but the deck is still a work in progress. Ultra B is really good because he's basically a win more card. This is your main boss, but this is when your boss goes berserk. So you Digivolves 3, one of your opponent's Digimon, and then you choose any of your opponent's Digimon whose play cost equal to 6 or less and delete them. Then when attacking, you can trash any up to 3 of your level 6 or higher sources. So, Blitz, Cress, and Alter S goes on top of here for 2. Swing, you resolve the effects of Blitz, Trash, and Security, and then you trash all 3, and then you delete, for each one that you trash, you delete one of your opponent's Tamers, and then if you trash 3 sources, you trash your opponent's top 2 security cards. So this thing with Blitz Greymon essentially has 4 checks. It's bonkers. But like I said, it's basically a win more. It's basically you only play this card when you're about to win the game. Or if you need like a little extra insurance to win the game. Which is why I want to find room for 1 more, but it's almost impossible to find the spot. Also, he's the only Omnimon that's not white. I don't get it, but okay. I'll take it. Next up, into the Tamers. We cut this guy down by 1, I believe, because this thing is just way too good. It just helps you facilitate your whole combo, lets you bring up 1 Digimon out of breeding area, and then if you've got the other one in the trash, you just go from there. So basically, you go, if you have the Agumon, you Digivolve to Garurumon, you've got the Agumon in trash, you get the Agumon back. If you have the Greymon in your hand, you Digivolve that and it's the only one out, you get the Gabumon back. And then you resolve your evolutions and effects accordingly. The other thing that it does is whenever you play an Agumon or a Gabumon, you suspend it and you gain a memory. Yeah, I choked my opponent to 1 a couple of times when they should have been at 2 with this card. Speaking of getting choked, or the opposite thereof, I'm running 2 copies of the new Taikamiya from BT12. Sorry, Starter Deck 15. 2 copies of the Taikamiya from Starter Deck 15. I have kind of a love-hate relationship with this card right now. Because this card is basically built... It's built for blockers, and it's arguably better than the BT2 tie that just straight up gives all your black Digimon 1,000 DP during your opponent's turn. But since you don't run Raid in this deck, you're never able to use it offensively. It's only used defensively. And basically, if I ever had this out, if I had a blocker, my opponent would never swing. So I would never get the plus 2,000 DP and draw a card. So I'm actually seriously thinking about cutting this down to 1. Maybe that's how I'm able to put the second Ultra B in here, or maybe I put another, I don't know, another Greymon of some kind in there, but I'm thinking about it. I'm trying to figure out what to cut, what to replace the second copy with, because it just did not come up. And you're actually able to warp all the way into a 7 if you have all the pieces with just 1 memory. So you arguably don't even need a memory setter in this deck, but it definitely does help. One of the other cards that I am still continuing to run that I'm seeing a lot of other people not run, and this actually has come up more than once, which is the main reason I can't cut it. I shouldn't be trying to say the name, but I'm gonna. Adds Beast Blade and Shining Dragon Bullet. Just rolls right off the tongue in the names of the in the words of the angry video game nerd. Security effect is you can play a Goblimon or Agumon from your hand or trash without paying the cost, and then you add it to your hand. Main, what does it do? Well, first off, it's a blue and red option card, so you need to have both blue and red on the field in order to play it. Literally just this guy. That's what you're going to be using for the color requirements for this card 100% of the time. So the first thing it does is if you have Crescarumon in play, when your Agumon or Greymon can Digivolve into Blitz Greymon from your hand, ignoring the Digivolution requirements and without paying the cost. If you have a Blitz Greymon in play, you can Digivolve one of your Gabumon or Garurumons into Crescarumon in your hand without paying the requirements and ignoring the Digivolution cost. So this literally just lets you warp your other 3 or 4 into a 6. And then you DNA from there. And to round the deck off, I'm running 2 copies of Black Memory Boost, because you can't run the training cards in this deck. Yes, please, let me training hit these cards, hit this card, hit all 4 of these, and bottom deck them. No, I will not allow that. I might do it when the Omekamon comes out, but I'm still trying to figure out. This deck is highly underrated. It's really good, and when it gets going, it is absolutely astonishing to watch. And incredibly fun to play. It feels so good just warping from 3s all the way into 6s one by one. But if you don't have the pieces, unfortunately, it just completely falls apart. But you can make do with just going into one Alter S on top of a Blitz Greymon or a Crescarumon and go from there. But that's a current build of Omnimon Alter S from EX4. Special thanks again to my very awesome friend Amahong for the Alter S playmat. Happy holidays, everyone. Like, comment, subscribe. Hit that bell down below for notifications. Let us know what other deck profiles you guys would like to see or other suggestions you might have. And we will catch you guys on the flip side.